and Ernie's last letter home, and just one or two little things. And I really didn't know very much more about it. I certainly knew almost nothing about Doug Sellers. But over these last 6 months, since we have been on the email with Jaap, I just feel I have learned so much more about that night in April, 66 years after it happened. It is amazing. Yes, we know all the details now of the fight between the two fighter planes, when it started, who the German pilot was, all these details. Yes, we have seen a photograph of the German pilot. Quite astonishing. I mean, the first time I opened the book and saw this photograph, I was stiff. I couldn't move to realise here he was. Yeah, they were bad times. You see, terrible times. But out of it comes good. It's amazing. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well, thank you for visiting us.
They got down, and obviously. When he died, that was 1944, I was 8 months old. I was just a little baby. I have no recollection. But of course, when he died, we have photographs, and in a way, my mother really never quite got over it, and her father as well, my grandfather, never really got over it all his life. So we have photographs and stories, and we know a little bit about it. But I really knew very little. And it was only when we found Jaap was researching, we found on the internet, and suddenly we found lots more detail about my uncle Ernest Kinchin, and also his navigator, who was Flight Lieutenant Doug Sellers. And obviously we have all the family history of my uncle Ernest, but we've never managed yet to trace the family of Doug Sellers. We know he came from Manchester, because Jaap found that, and we've looked for family connections in Manchester, but we have not yet found the family of Doug himself. But I think we shall one day. I think we shall find it.
We do.
Yes. The one thing I did just want to say today, because to me this is all absolutely amazing. You know, to come. My mother and father came to Amersfoort, because that was where my uncle was buried in Overleden. And obviously my mother wanted to come and see her brother's grave, and so through the Red Cross she found the Rintel family, Corinne and Philip Rintel, and they invited her to stay in this house with them for a week. And so she was able to visit the grave, and I have photographs of my mother sitting at the grave, but of course it was just a simple wooden cross, and it's only since then that the War Graves Commission has put in the headstone, which we have just visited this morning. So it is just so amazing, because we have this photograph of my mother and Corinne and Philip Rintel sitting just there.
Yeah, you sent it.
The photograph. Yeah, it's just.
We know the family Rintel very well.
Yes, and we have someone here who knew the family well. It's just astonishing. And the other thing that strikes me as symbolic in a way. I mean, my uncle was fighting for peace.
So for our children, an example of
tremendous experience.
What people have been done to safeguard principles of freedom. Yeah.
One of the things that is very striking to us in England, there is not the same emphasis on the war and the battles that were fought and the reason for it. And we come to Holland and we find there is a much higher awareness. And the liberation of Holland Day.
Roger, we were occupied.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I realise that.
The United States, Canada, and England were not occupied.
I know. I realise that.
And so what I want to say about my book, all crashes, had their own story.
Yes.
With emotions.
Yes.
When I see family stories inside. One time I always I hold a lot of lectures for different groups, for Rotary or for the Air Force or elder people. So I told the most of the time one story, they brought a family American flyer at my home. The police called me and they said, I have an American here and he must be crashed here somewhere. Can you help him? You're the expert of Nijkerk.
Right.
Can you help him?
Right.
Yeah, all right. Bring him to my house. And I opened the door and he came in with his wife and with his daughter and his brother-in-law, and sitting on the couch, and he's sitting there. We don't invite. I look at him and said, you are Dave Troop. You crashed at 6 March 1944 in a B-24 with a 392 bomb group. And the nickname of your bomber was the Flag Ducker. And your captain was Captain First Lieutenant Hestad.
What was his reaction? Couldn't believe it.
Yes.
He didn't tell his name.
Yes, I have pictures from you, from your crew. Your whole crew before the aircraft.
Yes.
I have your missing aircrew report. I have your escape and evasion report. I have the photo of you in a uniform made by the resistance. He has a body. There was Twitch O'Neill. I have also a picture of Twitch O'Neill. That's not possible. Yes, I have them all. And I know where you were hiding by the resistance. And we go looking there. Because he traveled around Holland a lot of times to try to find his place where he was hiding by for the Germans. And he never could find it. So he'd go everywhere in Holland to see where he was. And he came to the police station and they said, oh, we go to Jaap Vermeer, he's the expert of Nijkerk. So, and I showed him the pictures. And it was amazing.
Yes, of course he was. Couldn't believe it.
And I called the newspaper and the photograph and said,